Hello and welcome to the Athlete One podcast. I'm your host, Ken Carpenter, and joining me today is Chase Gerbrick, Director of Player Development and Assistant Coach at Indiana Wesleyan University. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me on today, Ken. I'm so pumped and I'm excited for this. You do such a tremendous job with these, and I'm so fortunate to be a part of this. So I'm excited for it.
Well, I got to start off with, I may be wrong here, but you're the youngest college coach in America?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Number one, I mean, I always go back to my family. I mean, since a young age, they've had just a tremendous impact on me. I'm outside of baseball, just, with who I am as a person and, what I strive to be off the field. And without my parents, I mean, they've made so many sacrifices for me, and my brother, the same thing. And I'm so fortunate for the impact they've had on me. But since a young age, baseball has been the game I fell in love with, and I played numerous sports growing up, but was fortunate enough to commit to Lipscomb University, which is a D1 school in Nashville, when I was a freshman in high school. And I just had a tremendous opportunity there and had a great time. I met some lifelong friends there my freshman year, and had the chance to start 2 games as a freshman, one versus Mississippi State on the road, which was fantastic. I mean, that's a moment I'll never forget. And then versus Queens, which is another tough opponent. They're in the ASUN conference as well, and just had a tremendous time there. And unfortunately suffered a career-ending injury in my arm. And so, looking at it, I was looking to continue to play baseball, but I knew it was going to be very challenging. But I loved the game so much, and my dream since high school was to become the best historical Power 5 head coach in the history of the game. So that's what I've shot for. And, when I, realized that my playing career was on the line, I was really bummed. I wasn't sure what was going to happen because my arm was bugging me a lot. I was told that there were going to be a lot of issues going forward if I continued to play. And 2 weeks before I had to make a decision, Coach McDonald, who's the head coach here at Indiana Wesleyan, called me up and said, "Hey, Chase, I've been seeing a lot of your content, talked with a lot of coaches throughout the industry. They think you'd be a great fit for us. Want you to come coach here, serve as our infield coach, help out in recruiting, and get you on a hot start to your coaching journey, get you, familiarized with defense, get you, working with TrackMan, taking guys on visits, doing player development charts for your infielders, right? And getting involved now so you can come out of college and be a force wherever you get hired." And so I think, when I heard him say that, it's been a dream of mine. I'm like, let's do it. I felt that I was more than qualified for the job, and absolutely loving it. And, Coach McDonald, Coach George, Coach Friend, Coach Gooden, I appreciate them for believing in me and supporting me and having me on board. So it's been quite the journey, and I'm so blessed to be here, and I'm having the time of my life right now. So it's fantastic.
Well, that's definitely a great transition to a lot of guys when they have injuries. They have to fight through it, and then they get into the real world. But you're getting a chance to start way earlier than most who want to chase that college dream of being a college coach. And that sounds exciting for you to get a chance to start at such a young age. And just for the listeners that don't know you, how old are you right now?
19 currently.
19. Wow.
Yes, sir.
Well, I got to ask, if a player has a goal to play college baseball, what's an area that young players struggle with when it comes to that whole recruiting process?
Absolutely. That's a great question, Ken. Number one, just, from my experience as a player and also my experience now as a coach, I've kind of seen the commonality of just not being strong enough. Especially in the age we're living in now with COVID and guys being set back. It's a mature game now. We got 24, 25-year-olds still playing the game of college baseball, which is great for them. They're rocking it. It's the age of the portal now, older guys, more experienced guys, junior college guys. And it's really, really competitive. And the thing that is setting, the most guys apart from the others is just lack of strength. So I think if you're a young kid, especially in high school, it all starts in the weight room. I've seen kids who were 100 pounds bump up to 150 to 180 to 200, and it's a whole new animal, right? I mean, you see kids, and they're with the pack, and then they separate themselves. I think nutrition is super important. It's one thing to put on weight, but are you putting on the right weight, right? Are you eating chicken and rice, quinoa, right? A complex carb, right? So are you putting on the right weight, and are you hitting the weight room really, really hard? Another thing I tell you too, Ken, is just putting yourself in uncomfortable situations and learning to be comfortable in those. Whether that's training with guys who are really, really good in your area, whether it's going to showcases, just learning how to navigate that, and surrounding yourself with guys who are better than you, coaches who are just really, really advanced. It's only going to up your game a lot. I think a lot of kids settle, for their comfort zone. And just for me, I've always been a guy that, hey, the more you can get out there and put yourself out there and put yourself in uncomfortable situations, the better off you're going to be. So I tell you, Ken, just focusing on the weight room and getting stronger and surrounding yourself with coaches and players who are better than you. I think that's going to be the big takeaway for when players go into college.
Well, I noticed that it even can apply to the classroom. And if you get the right group of kids that you're hanging around with in high school, and they're the ones they put a priority on being successful in the classroom and having good grades, that also can make a baseball player even better, or even if just the average student makes them a better. Because I've always been a big believer that whoever you hang out with, you're going to be the average of that group you're hanging out with.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's a great point. It's just who you surround yourself with. And this doesn't even go for baseball. It goes for life. Whether, you want to be a surgeon or a businessman or, whatever you aspire to be, hang around people who are going to push you to be better. Hang around people who are going to hold you accountable. That's one thing that we do here really, really well is, our team is just a bunch of guys who are really, really close knitted and guys who push each other and hold each other accountable, on and off the field. So I think whether it's in baseball or in life, hanging around kids and players and parents who are just going to, mold you into a really good human being, I think that's so important.
Well, out of high school, you chose to play at Lipscomb University. Talk about the importance of finding the right fit versus chasing that Twitter, or it's X now, I guess. Twitter, that's what I like to call it, where you're blessed to be playing whatever D1 school.
Right. No, that's a great point. It's so important, finding the right fit. I think especially now, we're living in an age of social media, right? Kids want to impress other kids, and even parents sometimes want to, show their kid off. And it's crazy some of the things I've seen on social media, and I'm seeing guys committing to schools that, I know just from things I've seen, things I've heard, isn't going to be a fit just because of the name. Right. And sometimes I think kids rush to make a decision. I think NCAA has done a fantastic job making that deadline longer. Now kids can't commit till junior year, August 1st, I believe. So I think that's great on their part, because I think a lot of kids are rushing a choice too early. And it's something that's at the end of the day, there is a life after baseball. And players need to realize that, hey, I'm going here for baseball, but I also want to go here because it's a inspiring community. I can have a great relationship with my professors. I'm going to, be able to come out with a fantastic degree. And if baseball doesn't work out, I'm going to love it here at this school. It's going to be a great fit for me. So, I think finding the right fit, it comes with doing your research and asking the right questions. You'll find that baseball is a very, very small world. And so doing your research, finding, who's been around the block and asking those people. I think that's huge. But one big thing I tell you, Ken, when you go on visit is it'll click. Obviously, for me, I was a young guy. I was talking with a lot of Power 5 schools, a lot of mid-major schools. And for me, I told my parents when I was in middle school, and I wasn't talking to anybody in middle school, but, I knew in middle school my goal was to play at the D1 level. And throughout that time, before I even started talking to schools, I was telling them all the time, I want to find the place that's going to develop me as a person and a player, a place that, I can play baseball at a very, very high level, a place that I can play at and develop at. I think that's so important, making sure you're playing and getting better, but also just being pushed spiritually and academically. And so Lipscomb came across and, had a lot of great conversations with some other schools, but I just felt it click. You have to go where you click with the staff, where you click with the environment. Obviously, Lipscomb's a very, very small school, so you get to connect with all the other athletes. You get to connect with your professors and build relationships. And it's just more than baseball. Obviously, I can go on and on about the Lipscomb baseball program. It's fantastic. They do a lot of great things over there. But, it was more than that. And obviously, you had Nashville side, which plenty of business opportunities, plenty of job opportunities if baseball didn't work out. So that was a big thing for me. And obviously now transitioning into Indiana Wesleyan, it was the exact same thing. Obviously, tremendous program, coming off a Final Four NAIA World Series run. I could talk about this program all day long with the facilities and how well funded it is and the coaching, but it spiritually just fits my standards and academically and just great people. And again, I'm a smaller school guy. So for others, they might be a bigger school guy. So it's kind of, narrowing it down, trying to figure out your needs and wants through a bucket list, and going about it that way also helps. But find the right fit. I think you're going to be able to feel that click, and then also looking for things outside of baseball that are going to suit you as well.
Well, I guess, and on a side note, down there in Nashville, the Peg Leg Porker right there, the barbecue place. I don't know if you had a chance to go there, but that wasn't bad.
It's good. Yeah, not to mention that the food down there is pretty good. So you got good food and warm weather. So that was also a plus.
Yeah. Well, staying on this topic, with Indiana Wesleyan making the NAIA World Series, make the case for why a baseball player in high school should consider going to Indiana Wesleyan University as a place to go play college baseball.
That's such a great question. I'll start with, we have all the coaching tools. Coach McDonald has done a tremendous job bringing in every single positional coach. We have a catching coach, an outfield coach, a hitting coach, an infield coach. Obviously, McDonald oversees pitching development, and he is tremendous at what he does. I can't even put into words. And we also have a pitching development coach. And so we're stacked. And so we're able to divide and conquer all based on our strengths. And then we're also able to bounce ideas off on what guys need. We do a lot of screen testing. We value mobility. We value strength in the weight room. Our strength coach is big on legs and getting guys bigger and more physical. And that, is a deficiency that most athletes come into college with. And for us, we put you on a meal plan and we get you in the weight room right away. Our facilities are first class. It's nicer than a lot of schools at all levels, D1, D2, D3, JUCO, throughout the country. I mean, we're just a tremendously well-funded program, and we have all the tools to develop. We're one of few NAIA programs with a TrackMan, and we're big on data and developing guys. And for my infielders, I'm big on film. We gather film all the time. We put together individual practice plans. We meet with our guys. We even have a classroom set up in our press box about development. Before the season even started, we have practice plans for our positional breakdown set up with our guys, meetings with our guys, and we're constantly communicating with our guys to make sure we're being player coaches, right? There's a lot of coaches who don't ask their players for insight, and they run their practices almost like military based, right? For us, we're a player's coach. And so we vouch for our guys. We value our guys. And so we're just a program who looking to bring guys in who want to work, grow spiritually, and grow academically. We have one of the nicest campuses in the Midwest. We're a very religious school. And, in terms of our baseball program, we love guys that get in and just love the game and love the work. And I think when establishing a culture, there's not a better culture in the country than here. I mean, we have guys just right away, so welcoming. As a young guy, I mean, that's what you want, guys to take you under their wing right away. And so a lot of schools experience some backlash from that. The higher you get, just because the more competitive it gets, you're bringing in guys from all over. But for us, we're bringing in kids who are fits, right? Not just good baseball players from who knows where, but players who are great people. Great in the classroom, great on the field. And so for us, it's about more than baseball. Obviously, we're trying to build a winning culture here, which we've done very consistently in the past, and I can go on and on about that. But we're looking to develop you as a person first. And I think a lot of programs don't do that. We value you as a person, not just an asset. So for us, we look to grow players as people first. And then obviously the student comes second, and the student athlete, and then the athlete. But for us, we're just looking to bring in great people, and that's what we've been able to accomplish so far.
Well, as a former infielder, what traits do you look for or notice when you're looking at the best infielders out there?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of infielders, for me, I love guys who, are twitchy. They can throw on the run, they can backhand, they know how to use their long hops, high IQ, guys who communicate, right? Especially when we're looking at the shortstop position, we want leaders, guys who are very, very vocal. And that goes for all of our positions. Guys who can pick it, but we love guys, who can also swing it too. So, essentially we're looking for the whole package, but guys who can bunt, guys who can execute. Obviously, like the talent, putting the talent aside, we want guys who are hustling in between the lines. A big kind of misconception is, if you go watch a guy, they chuck their things, right? You automatically cross them off the list. But for me, it shows me that you care. Obviously, I don't want you doing that, but if we can bottle you up, right? If we can learn to bottle that up, I want guys who play with emotion, play with passion, who care about their performance and want to be better, right? That shows me that you want to be better. Guys who, when they hit an infield fly or ground ball, they're sprinting from home to first. But for me as the infield coach, just vocal leaders, guys who are looking to always learn, guys who are twitchy, great with their feet, able to throw from multiple arm slots, throw on the run, use their long hop, know how to 2-step versus 4-step, right? Have that internal clock. And so a lot goes into it. Obviously, as an infield coach, I can go back and forth with you, but guys who are the full package can take care of it at the plate and can lead on the field as well.
Yes, I definitely agree with that because I was an infielder growing up, and when I played it, that was I look back to where I showed up in college. I thought I was a pretty solid infielder, and I took a couple ground balls. Coach goes, "Go to left," and I was like, "Oh, okay." And then once I saw
Yeah.
who our starting second baseman was, I was like, "All right, it makes sense." It's
Yeah.
kind of good.
Well, I mean, now the game is constantly evolving, and I just spoke with Tucker Frawley the other day. He used to be at Yale, and when he was there, they led the country in fielding percentage. And my goal is to do that with our infielders this year, lead the NAIA in fielding percentage. I think we have the talent to do so as well. But now Tucker Frawley's with the Twins, and he's doing a great job up there with them. But if you can't throw on the run in today's game, it's going to be a struggle to play at the next level. So we're just looking for a lot of athleticism, a lot of twitch. And I think the big thing is too, Ken, a lot of players will pride themselves on playing just one position. I think if you're a shortstop or a second baseman, you need to learn how to play the whole infield, maybe, exception of first and catcher, but learn how to play third, learn how to play short, because it opens up more doors for you in college, because you're going from being a big fish in a little pond in high school, being the best player, to walking into college, and everybody was that guy. So now you have to compete and learn how to get on the field. And so I think that versatility is really, really important.
Well, if a parent's going to spend money to help their son achieve that dream of playing at the college level, rank these areas as far as importance: strength training, camps, showcases, playing on an elite travel team, and having your own personal pitching or hitting coach, whatever it may be. Where do you rank those? Where would you say, hey, that's where you need to put your money into?
Yeah, Ken, I would tell you the camps and showcases kind of needs to be a back burner until you're ready. So definitely last. And obviously that's really, really important. But actually going back, I shouldn't say last, because I guess if you're ready, you need to get your name out there. But I also think there's a lot of opportunity for college coaches to see you. And if you market yourself well and you do a good job of promoting yourself, college coaches are also going to come see you play in the summer in the high school. So, I think weight training, to have a good mentor, at a young age is critical. You need to find somebody who can get you off to a good start. Now, I don't know if some kids, for me, I wasn't a kid who needed a trainer to push me, right? I think if you want to play in college, you need to have the ability to push yourself and go lift on days that you don't want to go lift, right? You need to have that discipline to go do the things you don't want to do and do them well on those days. So I think it's important to invest in a strength trainer, going into high school. And whether that's from your high school, a lot of high schools have their own trainers, right? But I do think that's important. But I think once you have established a good start, you don't need to continue that unless you really really want to, and you're getting something out of it. I think finding a hitting coach, pitching coach is crucial. There are a lot of coaches who are against that and just like go play, but I think it starts with finding the right coach. I know there's a lot of coaches out there, just looking to make money, not very knowledgeable, which is obviously very, very frustrating. Not what you want to see, and that's why I actually started Gerbrick Performance, was to kind of end all that eyewash and kind of teach the right things. But I think if you can find just a tremendous coach in your area who's knowledgeable, knows the game really, really well, been around it, coached a long time. I think getting that one-on-one instruction is so valuable. I mean, for me, I was never the most talented kid in middle school, but like we just touched on, Ken, I surrounded myself with players who are a lot better than me. Sometimes players who are 4 or 5 years older than me. One of them is Zach DeZenzo, played at Ohio State, and now he's in AA, AAA, and he's moving up fast. And I was in 8th grade training with this guy, and I mean, it was light years, but surrounding yourself and being invested in the process and finding a coach who's willing to do that with you, right? So I think that's so important. And then I think there's a fourth one on there I'm missing. What was that fourth one?
Travel team.
Travel team, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I would go travel team last. I think as coaches, obviously that matters. Your team getting out and about matters. But I think if you're good enough, that'll kind of work itself out. Obviously, for us, I've recruited plenty of players and seen plenty of players who aren't on the team they're supposed to be on, and they're studs, and they're committing to D1 schools. Why? Because I don't think coaches really care about the team you're on. They care about what you look like, your intangibles, what you're doing in the classroom, how you carry yourself, and are you competing at a very, very high level? And is there a projectability factor in there? And so I've seen kids who are on not very good teams, and then they go D1, boom, they go to a good travel team. So again, and sometimes it's a financial thing, right? Sometimes parents can't get their kid on the best of teams, or sometimes there's a bias factor in there. So, for me, I don't really value that much. Obviously, it is really, really important to play against the best of the best competition, but there's a lot of variables that go into that. But, camps and travel team, obviously, you want to do a lot of camps. You need to get your name out there. You want to play for a really, really good travel team. But I think valuing that strength aspect and putting, all your marbles into the process and getting better, I think that's critical. So I would put weightlifting and the personal development on the top there.
Well, I read something where, for people that are trying to go viral on the internet with tweets and Instagram and TikTok and all those things, it all starts with a hook.
Yeah.
It's something that's going to get the attention of the people that are looking at it. Talk about emailing as a high school player, emailing college coaches, and that the importance of that hook.
So important. When I was a high schooler, I mean, I was hungry. I would probably say more hungry than every single player in the country to play at the next level. I mean, I was emailing 2 or 3 times a week. Sometimes I even sent the same email because I wanted my name to stick. And that's a great point you brought up, Ken, is, seeing it on the coaches side now too. Like, we get tons of emails, and I can't even imagine these Power 5 schools who are getting hundreds a day. And so, when you get that much, and obviously I'm a guy who looks at every single email. I think you have to. I think if you want to be the best coach in college, you have to look at every single email you get. But a lot of schools don't do that. For that reason, I don't know why they don't look at it, but law schools don't. So you need to have an attractive subject line to stand out, whether that's you have a great GPA, you have a really good fastball velocity, you have a good bite in your curveball. For me, I was a switch hitter, so I was able to throw that in there. So, just throwing, I wouldn't say an eyeballing statistic, but throwing some sort of stat in there, some sort of strength that, puts you right up to the top is critical. Because at the end of the day, no matter how good your film is, if they don't see it, it's no good, right? So you need to have that attractive subject line to get your name to pop. And then once you click on that, then they could obviously see your footage, and you can provide a little more detail behind those statistics. But again, I mean, I think that's a great point. whether it's Twitter in your bio, whether it's emailing, you need to list your strengths and list them really, really well to make yourself stand out.
Tell me something about coaching, since you're into it now, that is you didn't realize as a player. You're like, wow, I didn't realize that the coaches along the way that I've had. Now you're on that end of it, and now you're like, oh my God, I never even thought about that.
Yeah, that's actually a great question. Just being on the coaching side, I've seen so many things that already that I've misinterpreted. As a player, more so at a younger age. When I got into college and high school, wasn't so much. But when I played for a coach and they got on me, I would just automatically think, oh, they don't like me. They don't like me, and I would kind of play victim. And again, as I matured, I realized that wasn't the case. But on the coaching side, the players that I tend to push the most are the ones that I see a lot of potential in, guys who can be great, just really, really good. And that, it's kind of the biggest thing I've seen. And I think a lot of players maybe struggle with that in today's society, because now I think, in today, it's just more of a softer generation, right? Kids who maybe want to be coddled. And there's a lot of kids who don't take constructive criticism the right way. And so I try to phrase it for our guys and push our guys to be great. And so, it's so awesome to see when I have a lot of the infielders, texting me during the week, hey, can we go up Saturday and work on some infield, do some one-on-one? Absolutely. Let's do it. And I think that's awesome. And I think the guys here really take that into account, that, when I push them, when I get on them a little bit, it's me, saying, I know you can be great. And that's something that's just great about our program, is we have kids who just want to be better and want to learn. And when I was a player growing up, I didn't really get that. When coaches would get on me, I would just think, they don't like me, they're picking on me, but it's the opposite. And so I would tell kids in my shoes, when I was in middle school, elementary school, whether it's you're playing for your dad or a coach, competitive travel team, coaches want to see you succeed. So if they're getting on you, they know you can be great, and they know you're destined for big things. And so that's kind of the big thing I've seen so far.
I've heard people even say, when they stop getting on you, that means that maybe they're moving on to the next one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it just shows you, like, and if I'm pushing you, right, I know you're destined for big things. And so I want to see guys who are coachable too, who are taking that and applying it. And so I've heard that as well. Coaches, would repetitively tell a guy to do something, and days go by, practices go by, and they don't want to do it for some reason. They're getting lazy. They don't remember it. Coach, they're going to move on to the next guy. So I think that's obviously a really good point as well.
Well, you touched earlier on Gerbrick performance, and this really intrigues me. You have over 50,000 followers on Instagram, and if you go on the Instagram and check it out, you provide a lot of great information there, and talk a little bit and promote Gerbrick performance, because maybe there might be some listeners out here that I just stumbled onto it, and I'm really excited about it.
Absolutely. No, to start, I started it going into my senior year of high school. Obviously, I love the game of baseball. I was around some really big names growing up. Frankie Lindor was actually one of my greatest mentors growing up. Was able to pick his brain, and would see him after the Cleveland Indians games at the time, and see now they're the Guardians, but would go down there and pick his brain. And then from there, it just kind of started snowballing, made connections with Alan Jaeger, Kainoa Correa, Tucker Frawley, just a lot of big names. And so growing up, I loved playing, but my goal was to never be the best professional baseball player. I want to be the best coach historically in the game. And so going to my senior year of high school, I had so much knowledge, and I was given, 15, 20 lessons a week with kids around my community, college commits, youth players. And I was like, I just want to spread my knowledge, because I was seeing so many online coaches just posting just really weird content that, was just trying to get them noticed, but it wasn't correct. And that was obviously very frustrating for me to see, because, if you want to be a coach, you need to teach the right things. I think that's important. And for coaches who just don't have all the information or are teaching things, they're feeding kids the wrong information who want to get better, and they're essentially hurting them. And so I wanted to get on there, and I had no intention of it blowing up, but made it going into my senior year. I think it was August 18th. Going to my senior year, and I made shirts, and I had such a supportive community in my hometown where kids would take the shirts and wear them around, and I hit the 500 follower mark, and it was starting to get a lot with training, and I was posting 2 or 3 times a day and networking and emailing and doing all this crazy stuff, trying to be a student, trying to balance all this workload. And I went back to, I made shirts. These people are supporting me. I'm going to continue to do this, number one, because they're supporting me, but number two, I love this. Continue to do it. Took me about 8 months to get to 1,000 followers, and then right when I hit 1,000, I just exploded. And for me, it's never about the followers, but I just want to reach the biggest audience I can and help the most people I can, and that's why I'm just so excited about where this has gone. And I've been a student of the game for so long, and this is what I love. I love diving in and making connections and coming on these podcasts and talking shop as well. And through that, just been able to connect with some extravagant people. And I've had people message me who are high up in the ranks at a Division I school, infield coach at D1 school, or a big league infield coach, say, hey, been seeing your stuff for a long time. We've incorporated some of your progressions, some of your teachings into what we're doing with our team. I think that's fabulous. And I've posted a few things throughout the past few days of what I've been doing with our team. And same thing, just had a few Power 5 coaches I've kind of stayed in contact with text me and say, hey, I'm stealing this from you to use with our guys. And so that's always so rewarding when you get to hear that from guys who are doing it at a very, very high level. And my goal is just to impact as many people as I can, obviously on the field. But I also want to be a person to inspire people to be great off the field, especially in the world we're living in now. So that's kind of my goal. And I'm so excited just to be able to spread that light throughout Instagram.
Well, it sounds like you're doing that and much more. And like you said, it's if you're putting out the right content and it's reaching the right people, that's all that matters. And it just like anything, you're building your network, and in the long run, that's going to benefit you.
Absolutely. And that was how kind of I ended up here at Indiana Wesleyan. It was just funny how it worked. My brother played here, and if I wasn't kind of marketing myself on how knowledgeable I am and what I know about coaching in the infield side, Indiana Wesleyan probably wouldn't have brought me on, because I it's not like I wouldn't have been a nobody, but it's essentially what has gotten me here and what has allowed me to establish relationships and prove myself in a very, very competitive industry. And so that's always something too, with just having these high aspirations to be a big time coach. I think that has really helped me build some respect within the industry as well.
Well, I'd like to do a thing here during the podcast. It's rapid fire, and I'm just going to hit you with some quick questions, and whatever comes to mind, you just tell me, and let's see how this goes here.
Let's do it.
What fires you up more, a great defensive play or stretching a double into a triple?
Stretching a double into a triple. I gotta say, extra bases is pretty cool, and I'm big on that hustle aspect, so that fires me up.
Okay, I like that. As a coach, you can only have one. I'm going to give you two choices here: a deep pitching staff with an average hitting team, or a lineup that just can flat out rake with an average pitching staff.
Deep pitching staff. I think it all goes back to pitching and defense, and you win games on pitching and defense. So I got to go with that one.
There you go. Who wins the World Series this year and why?
NAIA or MLB or what?
MLB. I'm sorry, MLB.
I gotta go. I gotta go with my Guardians. If we can get up there and at the number one spot and get over the Twins and get hot here, I think we got it in the bag. So, but if I'm being serious, I gotta go with the. I don't know. I gotta stick with the Guardians. Honestly, I can't go anybody else.
Yeah, I went and watched Cleveland play the Braves this summer, and wow, that Braves lineup is
yeah, stacked head to toe every year.
I mean, what blew me away on that was I think at the game I was at, I was looking at the stats and they had 100 more home runs than Cleveland did at that point in the season,
Jeez.
and that's that is going to help you win games without a
Oh
doubt.
yeah, absolutely. I think the Rangers also a very talented team this year,
Yeah.
obviously. So, lot of good teams, but hopefully the Guardians can pull one off for us.
Okay, if you were a top 25 player coming out, you graduate in the spring, you're coming out of high school. What do you think are the top three Division One college baseball programs that you would say you got to go play there because the coach, the atmosphere, the weather, whatever it may be?
Yeah, well, to start two come to my head right away. Vanderbilt and Tennessee. I know Coach Corbin really really well over there at Vanderbilt, and I know Coach Vitella a little bit as well. So I think those two are just, I mean, tremendous coaches. I mean, you're seeing what they're doing with the program, and you're seeing what they're doing with their programs. I mean, it's pretty incredible what they're doing. Obviously, great coaches and great leaders. So love both of them and what they're doing. So I think Vanderbilt, Tennessee, obviously the top two. Um, I think USC. I really like what USC is doing with Coach Stankwitz, obviously overseeing that as the head coach, Coach Etherton at the pitching staff there, Coach Jenkins with the catchers, and Coach Jewett as the hitting coach. I mean, I think that's just a powerhouse staff. And they had a tremendous year with year one, all of them being new. So I would go with Vanderbilt, Tennessee, and USC. I mean, I think those are tremendous programs led by tremendous people.
You're an MLB manager, and you can trade for and sign these three players to your team. I'm going to give you two groups. Tell me which group you would rather have. Group one, Ronald Acuna, Blake Snell, the pitcher for San Diego, and Freddie Freeman,
Okay.
or Bryce Harper, Spencer Strider, the Braves pitcher, and Trey Turner from the Phillies.
Since you threw in Trey Turner, I got to go with that group. He's one of my favorite players, and I think Bryce Harper is a competitor. I love Bryce Harper, and the Strider is obviously a beast. So I think you got to go with that group.
Well, to finish up, 10 years from now, where's Chase Gerbrick in his coaching career?
Absolutely. No, that's a great question. I just, right now I'm humbled. I'm in the moment, but I'm focused here on giving my all for Indiana Wesleyan. And 10 years, 5 years down the road, just hoping to be in a great spot where I'm able to lead players in the right direction and just help players grow on and off the field. So that's what I'm so excited for about this journey, and looking forward to continuously learning and making players better. And I'm so pumped for the opportunity I have now, and just look forward to the future.
Well, I guess I'm going to throw one more in there.
Yes.
How's Indiana Wesleyan going to be next spring?
Really good. Yeah, really sharp. Really, really sharp. I think we've got just a tremendous lineup head to toe. We've got a lot of depth, just great people, great players, and obviously got the right coaching staff in the building. So I'm fired up. We're fired up as a staff, as a collective whole, and I can't wait. I'm itching to get out there and start playing and start competing, and I think our guys are too. So be sure to keep an eye out for us, and we're ready to rock and roll for sure.
Well, I had early on into my podcasting career, I guess you could say, I had my first NAIA guest on, and it was Jeremy Sheetinger.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Good night.
Nice second NAIA guy.
They do it really, really well over there. They're fantastic, and great mentor of mine is Alan Jager, and he's always out there and just has speaks so highly of that program. And obviously you can see it every year. They do it well over there, and we respect them very, very well on our end as well. So they're very well respected all over the country, and I love watching them. They're fun to play against, and I hope we have that chance to play against them again this year. It's always a great game, very competitive game from two teams who just love baseball and want to get after it. So nothing but respect for them. They're doing a great job.
Well, Chase, I'm excited to see what you do with your coaching career, and you're definitely getting started a lot younger than just about anybody else that I could ever imagine. But Chase Gerbrick, Indiana Wesleyan University assistant coach and director of player development. Chase, wow, thanks a ton for taking the time to. For the people that don't know when this podcast is going on, it is almost 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
Should be Athlete One podcast after dark. So
absolutely. No, that's fantastic. We're setting records already for the latest time. So that's great. I appreciate you having me on, Ken. It's always great talking shop with you, and so fortunate. You're doing a great job, and you're killing it. And I look forward to staying up with you as well.
all right, thank you.